Okay, Dax. So, we're up to, well, I guess it gets a little bit confusing with the meetings because technically we're currently in week one, but we're going to be, yeah, we'll do a bit of a review of this week, but we'll also talk about next week, so which is week two. So next slide, please, Em. So, just a quick little recap of what we're going to be going over tonight. We'll do a recap of this current week. We've got a new mindset lesson that we're going to go through, and obviously we'll give you the details of what the plans are for next week, and then just a few questions at the end. So, next slide, please, Em. All right. So, week one recap. Next slide. So this is obviously the current week that we're in. So this week we're getting serious, even though a lot of you already, noticing from the Sunday surveys, you guys were already into it last week, with eating in the food zones and all that sort of thing. But officially
I
this
sit
week,
here or go downstairs.
I'll just mute you, Nisha, just so we don't have any background noise. So yeah, this week we're officially 5 days in the fat loss or the accelerated fat loss, and 2 optional days to eat in the maintenance zone. We'll straight on to the 2 liters of water every single day. And the aim was the 3 to 4 hours of walking. So somewhere in that zone. I know some of you were even aiming for more of that, more than that, which is great. And one longer walk of an hour and a bushwalk, if you can. Couple of strength, couple of mobility, and the win the day every day, which will be consistent throughout the whole program. So the education for this week was water and hydration. Most of you from the
Has
Sunday,
everyone watched it? Has everybody watched it?
I think
And are we
all
implementing strategies from that education module?
there was maybe a couple people that hadn't on Sunday from the surveys. Almost everyone had. So, and I think a few of them said that they were going to watch it before tonight's meeting. So I
Yeah,
think
I've watched it now.
you have. Yep, excellent.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it's an important one, and that's why we put it at the start, because as you would have gathered from all the info in the actual presentation, it's super important for way more than what you probably realize. Like, most people know surface level hydration, why it's important for our bodies, but it's a really important habit, and it's one of the habits that we see people carry, moving on after the program. They really carry that one. But winter is one of those times that it can easily get derailed. So it's important to be very consistent with that. Samantha says she loves that that it helps to reduce wrinkles. So there's lots of benefits. Who else we got? Good Jenny coming in. Cool. Next slide, please, Em. So building on last week's habits was, so talking about the warm-up period, what we really sort of built on was getting our water, officially up to the 2+ liters this week, and just getting the exercise routines established, those food zones, which you're all doing really well with, by the way, and the hydration. I can see, Jane put she front loaded the day with the water, which is, something that I highly recommend. As I mentioned in the education, it really helps to get, even it's a concept that sort of applies to a lot of different things. I do it with water. I try and drink as much water as I can as soon as I wake up and for the first half of the day, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day, and it gives you a head start so you stay on track. Same with the walks and exercise. It's always good to try and get something in early in the week, because then you start to, knock some of the time off, especially as the weeks go on when the numbers are going to get bigger. It's a really good habit to have. Next slide, please, Em. All right, so we're just going to do a little bit of a review of some of the results that we've had so far. It's always nice to, just take a little bit of time as a group to celebrate some of our wins. You'll notice that that's a big part of what we're really trying to do. So almost everyone watched all of the education videos, printed out all the handouts. There was only a couple of you that hadn't yet, but most of you that hadn't had told me that you were going to knock it off and already have. Everyone was really good with hitting their strength and their walking targets, and really took advantage of using that warm-up period. That's why we put it there, because it really helps to just build a little bit of momentum and get you into the right frame of mind before we go into the proper, week one, day one. And we can see from the surveys and everyone's feedback that that's really, most of you have really, run with it. So that's great to see. All the surveys were done on time, which is always helpful for us because it allows us to collate the data and just stay organized and be able to give you guys that feedback. Everyone was really good at getting organized and switching themselves on into that right mindset. And there was a few little lessons learnt in that first warm-up period for some of the people that are running through the program new. But I love that, it's very constructive and people have said what their adjustments are going to be for this following week. And the win the day was really consistent as well. Next slide, please, Anne. So a few of the challenges that came up in the surveys. That's why we really like the surveys, because it allows us to, just flag anything that in real time of what's happening with you guys so that we can help you and support you. And a lot of the time, there might be something that applies to you, but it also applies to other people in the group. So it's always helpful hearing, you might not have even written it down, but you might have sort of had it in the back of your head. So a few of the challenges were reducing alcohol for some of you, but there was definitely some proactive steps that I think almost everyone took, which is great. Social engagements, they tended to be, there was a couple of people that had social engagements which created a little bit of an obstacle, but I think everyone really navigated them well, which was really good to see. And just a few people had, ate a few high carb foods and were like, oh, didn't check the list properly, realized afterwards, and lesson learnt for future. And the mobility was really good as well. Someone said, Samantha said Mother's Day might be a little bit of a challenge. That's all right. Let your family know what you're doing. I'm sure that they'll be very supportive of you.
It's actually a good opportunity to talk to your family about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Early on in the program, getting out your reasons for why you've joined the program so they can support you along the way. That's what I think.
Next slide, please.
Mobility as well. We had a few people didn't do any mobility last week, and that's just the warm-up week, so that's okay. But what we find with mobility is the people who are really successful and do it quite frequently, they tend to stack it onto something else, like either directly before a walk or directly after a walk, is generally because it's one of those things that's so small. They're just like 2 10-minute sessions that you got to get done in your week. It's easy to forget about them. So think about stacking them onto something else that you're doing this week if you're someone who didn't do any mobility last week. I'll hand it back to you, Rob.
So some of the results, we had some really, really solid results, even, considering it's the warm-up period and we haven't even really clicked into gear fully. So definitely we saw a theme of everyone being really focused. Everyone's attention and focus being, really dialed in now. And the organization really noticing that there's a lot of planning going on, pre-planning with workouts, with when you're going to fit your walks in, having, scales to weigh your food and shopping list and what you're going to be eating and all that sort of thing. So that's, it just makes the execution side of everything so much easier when you're prepared. So I'm really glad we did have an educational session on that in the warm-up period. So hopefully you guys took away some tips from that and that's helped with everything. Overall as a group, we had 19 kilos lost in the warm-up period, which is pretty significant. I should say I always like to manage people's expectations because the start, you do tend to have a bit of an extra drop when it first starts out. So the thing with weight loss is, and I know that not everyone in the group is even doing weigh-ins or wanting to lose weight. So this is more just applicable to the people that are. but it doesn't always happen in a perfect, equal increment every single week. It tends to go up, down, sideways, but what we look at is the trend that it goes. Sometimes when you have a really big loss in one week, you can actually have a little bit of a pullback the next week. So sometimes your next week can be flat, or sometimes you even put on a little bit, and you're like, what the hell did I do wrong? I did everything the same I did the week before. So what I'm getting at is sometimes you have fluctuations, like you fluctuate day to day. You have a little bit of an up and low cycle, and sometimes you catch yourself on the low cycle and the number's really significant. Sometimes you catch yourself on the up cycle and it looks like you've gained weight or stayed the same, but it's not reflective of the effort or anything that you're doing. Just trust the process and just be aware that, yeah, it's not, if you had a really big loss in this first week, I know some people lost 2-3 kilos. It's probably not going to happen like that every week. It would be amazing if it did, but yeah, just be aware of that. We already talked about the mobility, walking, way more walking. A lot of you really smashed it with the walking and did well beyond what we were even asking of you. So that's really positive to see. The zones, again, same. Like people were eating, some of you were, ate in the fat loss or the accelerated fat loss zone every single day. So that's another really positive thing to see that you guys are embracing it. We had feedback that you're not feeling as hungry even, which is a very common feedback that we hear a lot because it's got to do with the insulin, the hormones that we're releasing. We're not on that sugar roller coaster where our energy is going up and down and up and down, and we're ending up with reactive hypoglycemia, and then we get really hungry. When you eat like this, your energy levels are more stable and your blood sugar is more stable. Alcohol reduction has been really significant, so that's another big plus. And almost everyone completed the win the day, almost on most, if not all days. So that's another big win. Next slide, please, Em.
There's a win for us too there, Rob, because we changed the win the day a little bit,
We
and
did.
it's obviously had an impact on
Yes.
people's getting into it quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna mention it later on. I'll talk about it a little bit
Yeah.
bit after. So you win. So these, like, we love to share some personalized wins from the group. So it's always nice to hear what everyone else's wins are, because I think it really helps to build the momentum with the group. So some of the wins that some of you shared with us was being mindful on food selections when out on the road. So no chocolates, apples, takeaway. So big steps forwards, avoiding those foods which, were a regular occurrence previously. Another one was, so many wins throughout this week. So walking regularly, getting all the education in the meal planning, habit stacking, and just reflecting on, negative habits and replacing them with more positive ones, which is, a huge part of the program of what we're trying to do. Again, more planning, preparation, being organized, the walks, bike rides with friends, and being, holding true to yourself and saying no to cakes and sweets. So, I think one of the biggest confidence builders that you can have in yourself is when you sort of make like a promise to yourself. It's not even, to anyone, it's not to us trainers, but sometimes you make a little commitment to yourself that it's like, right, committing to myself, I'm not going to do this, or I am going to do this. And when you stick with it and you don't let yourself down, that's a really big confidence builder. And I think it builds your own momentum and your own confidence in yourself for future decisions as well. What else do we have? Yeah, replacing the alcohol with kombucha. Love that. Love that. That was one of our recommendations. So yeah, really pleased to hear that some of you are embracing things like that and getting family on board for support as well, which is really important. Next slide, please, Em. And Em, can you just monitor the comments and just flag anything if it's worth mentioning if I'm just going through the slides.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Drinking 2 liters of water since Thursday. Walking every day, preparing meals, no snacking, enjoying the program. We had a few people that said that they're enjoying the program. So, this is the program. We try and make it fun and enjoyable. Like we want you to enjoy the process. It's not meant to be something that's, you know, something that you dread and you don't like doing and you just sort of force yourself to do. So glad to hear that feedback. Enjoying this week, settling into the program again, same feedback, learning new ways of eating, which is quite fulfilling. So again, with those energy levels and, you know, a big part of our philosophy is teaching you guys a way of eating that works, that fuels your body, makes you feel good, is really good for vibrant health, but is easy to stick with, most of all, even after the program is completed. And another one was increasing exercise and weight loss, gaining a deeper appreciation and setting up better habits. Habits, number one, that's so key to everything that we're doing. And just following the program. Even some cold recoveries. I think that might have been from the Q&A that we did last week at our weekly meeting. We suggested some recovery techniques, doing a fast, and again, organization. Next slide, please, Em. Again, the theme of being prepared. And I love, this is another thing that comes up a lot in this program, is trying new recipes, giving new things a go, expanding your horizons. Some people are very rigid with what they eat, especially. So I love it when we get feedback that people are trying different things. And quite often feedback we get is, oh, yeah, I really like that. It was good. It was better than what I expected. And it's all about that, that growth, that mindset of growth. As we get older, it's important to keep that mindset because it keeps us young. And meal prepping again, daily walks, big weight loss, increasing water, another one, being consistent every day, consistency. That's a really big one to be, proud of yourself for. And there was another one where I think it was Carl went to a family planning, a family party, and she was hoping to stick to the program, but they served pizza, so she decided just to fast through that period. But also, recognize that in future I'm going to eat before I go to a family event so that I'm not full and I'm not tempted, and it's just easier. And I highly recommend that. That's one of the strategies I often use. And another one, drinking water each day. I think it was even from replacing the alcohol with more water, which is a really good one to have as well. Good habit. And doing some walking rather than none. So again, it was the warm-up period. So we're building up into things. So that's a positive. That's a step in the right direction. All right. So next slide, please. So tonight, our mindset topic is going to be about the 3 energy levers that shape your day. So because if we want to build better habits, exercise more, eat better, feel more confident, and actually follow through with everything, we need good energy levels to do that. So you can have the best of intentions in the world, but if your energy is constantly low, if it's flat, if you feel, drained, everything starts to feel just like an uphill battle. So tonight I want to show you 3 simple levers that influence your energy every single day. And when you pull them in the right direction, they will become energy givers and fuel your energy, boost your energy. But when they're left unchecked, they can quickly become energy suckers and energy drainers and take energy from you. Next slide, please, Anne. So energy, it truly is the currency of life. Every day you wake up with a certain amount in the tank, but the thing is we're not exactly like cars. A car just needs fuel, but as humans, our energy, it doesn't just come from what we eat. It comes from how we move our bodies, how we sleep, how we breathe, what we focus on mentally, and what we consume mentally as well. And even how we speak to ourselves. These are all key things that really have a big impact. Throughout the day, your choices are either charging your energy up or draining that energy down. So when your energy is low, everything feels harder. Exercise feels harder. Your food choices feel harder. And even making just simple decisions sometimes can feel overwhelming when you're really drained and low on energy. It can leave you feeling stuck, like the wheels are just spinning, but you just haven't got enough momentum to get going with things. But when your energy's high, everything changes. You think clearer. You tend to just feel better. You have more drive, more focus, and more motivation just to get shit done, in all honesty. And that's why energy, it truly is one of our most valuable resources, because it doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects what version of yourself you show up as every day. Next slide, please. So, lost my screen. So we all know what low energy feels like. In a low energy state, your thinking gets a bit foggy, you feel a bit scattered, you feel overwhelmed easily, you can second guess yourself, and even small decisions can feel a lot bigger. You can start saying things like, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow. I can't be bothered," or I just can't make that decision right now." That's the low energy state. Stress, apathy, feeling fed up, feeling just a bit, I guess, blah, and just no get up and go and no motivation. But high energy feels very, very different to that. You feel sharper, more focused, you think clearer, you tend to become more decisive, and you're more likely to take action instead of putting things off and delaying them. You have more of a yes, can do type attitude. You feel a bit more enthusiastic about things, more driven, and more willing to tackle challenges, to tackle things that are hard and difficult. And I'm not saying that everything suddenly becomes easy, because it doesn't. You'll still have challenges, but when your energy is higher, you tend to feel more confident and more capable to to take on those challenges instead of just sort of delaying them or just avoiding them. And that's what we really want to try and shine a light on in this level up program. The importance of that. It's not about trying to be perfect all the time, and it's not about trying to change everything overnight. It's about helping you understand how important your energy, your mindset, and your mental and emotional state really are. So you can win the day, just one day at a time, and make, I guess, following through feel less overwhelming and start to feel a bit more natural for you. Next slide, please, Em. So we talked about the mental and emotional state at last week's meeting, and what we're really talking about was the condition you're in mentally and emotionally at any given moment in time on any day. Your state influences how you think, how you feel, and in turn how you act. So think about a time in your life when you were full of energy. You've probably felt quite switched on. You might have felt more creative, felt like you could tackle, pretty much anything that fell in front of you. And you might even started to think about bigger things like planning a walking holiday, doing, the Inca Trail or in Peru, or, walking the Camino in Spain, or I guess, just saying yes to something you normally might have talked yourself out of. And that really is the power of, being in a high energy state. And the good news is that there are things that we can do each day that will influence that state. And we can definitely, influence a lot more than what we think. Next slide, please, Em. So every day, a certain version of you shows up. Some days it's the focused versions, the strong version, the version that makes, good choices that you feel proud of by the end of the day. Other days, it's the more tired version of you, the reactive version, I'll start on Monday version of you. We'll have both of them. And, I guess, but the key point is your energy has a massive impact on which version of you gets the steering wheel each day. So if you want to change how you show up, we need to start protecting and building our energy day to day. Next slide, please. So there's 3 key energy levers I want you to think about tonight. So number 1, body. Number 2, focus. Number 3 is language. Each one can either work for you or against you. So if you pull the lever in the right way, it gives you more energy. If you pull it the other way, it takes energy away from you. And the good news is you don't need to fix all of it all at once. You just need to start noticing, which levers need attention right now in the moment, today, right now. Next slide, please, Anne. So the first lever we're going to talk about is your body. So most people think energy only comes from, food, the food we eat, or, just resting. And yes, those things definitely matter, but energy also comes from how you use your body. If you sit still all day, if you slump, bad posture, you breathe really shallowly, you skip movement, eat foods that leave you feeling flat, and maybe just stay up too late scrolling, your body is going to feel lethargic. But when you move, you stretch, stand tall, breathe more diaphragmatically, hydrate your body well, you train, you eat real food, prioritize your sleep, you pull that lever in the right direction. Next slide, please, Em. So it's definitely worth asking yourself, is the way I'm treating my body giving me energy or taking it away? Good posture gives you energy. Sitting slumped is going to drain you and suck your energy. Shallow breathing, again, it's going to drain your energy. Nice, slow, deep diaphragmatic breaths will boost your energy. A workout can give you energy. Eating a proper meal can give you good energy. And it's funny because even though a workout, you burn energy, you're using energy, it costs you energy. Your energy, like your energy in the movement from doing the activities, it actually gives you more energy back than it takes. It lifts your metabolism. It causes you to release endorphins. It improves your strength and fitness over time, like from even more of a longer term perspective. And when you're stronger, daily tasks don't require that 100% reserve anymore. And things like, I guess just basic things, carrying the shopping, climbing stairs, gardening, keeping up with the grandkids, all of those things just become easier. And that's why movement, it's such a powerful energy giver. And sometimes the fastest way to change your energy is not to think your way out of it, it's actually to move your way out of it. Like, sometimes I go to some like online like mindset motivational events and a few of the speakers they get people to jump up and down like before they do the presentation because everyone's at home watching it online and most people are sort of slumped and it's amazing when you jump and bounce and you just get all that vibrational energy going through your body, your attention's better, you retain things better, and your whole mood and state changes. I've really noticed myself doing those things. Next slide, please. And by the way, my family always thinks I'm crazy because they see me jumping around when I'm doing these things, but it helps, it does. And here are some simple body energy givers that I wanted to share with you guys. So move your body instead of sitting sedentary all day. Standing tall, good posture, instead of slumping, breathing deeply and instead of those shallow breaths, prioritizing sleep instead of scrolling late at night. Dim the lights, reduce the screen time before bed, getting to bed on time, and with food, focusing on nutrient-dense whole foods like we are in the program. Start swapping out some of the processed foods that leave you flat. And because when your blood sugars, as I mentioned before, when they're more stable, your energy is way more stable. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect, in everyday life, even after the program. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be, you just need to break it down to one choice at a time and really just focus on improving and making things better. Next slide, please, Em. So the second lever is focus. And this one's a really big one because our attention is being pulled in every direction pretty much 24/7 these days. News, social media, work stress, family stress, notifications constantly popping up, just worry, maybe even comparing yourself to other people's problems spilling over into your life. And truth is, if you start your day feeding your mind with like chaos and negativity and everyone else's priorities, don't be surprised when your energy feels really scattered. Remember, I've mentioned this already to you guys, and you'll probably hear me say it a lot more. Where your focus goes is where your energy flows. So if you want more energy, you need to be more careful with what gets your attention. Next slide, please, Em. So the focus energy givers are things that bring your mind back to what truly matters to you. And I'm talking big picture wise. Starting the day with your wins and gratitudes, watching the sunrise instead of checking emails, getting outside for a nature walk instead of being stuck indoors, reading a personal development book, maybe instead of some tabloid magazine. Doing just one small action that moves you forwards to get a little bit of momentum. Even for some of you might be meditating or sitting quietly. You don't even have to meditate. You can just literally sit outside, listen to the birds, and just start your day slowly, mindfully, as opposed to maybe just mindlessly, even at night, watching episodes of something that you don't even really care about. And focus energy takers are things that leave you feeling worse after you've done them. Doom scrolling, comparing yourself constantly to other people, watching things that are too negative, just sitting in worry without taking action and doing something about things. And let's be honest, most of us already know what drains us. The work is being willing to notice and actually do something about it and make a better choice. Next slide, please, Ellen. So one simple thing I'd encourage you all to do is to do a little bit of an audit in just auditing where your mind's going. Look at your social media feed, look at what you watch, what you read, look at what you listen to, and just ask yourself, is this moving me forwards? Is this putting me in a better mental and emotional state? Or is it draining my energy and just pulling me backwards? Because what you really, repeatedly consume starts to shape how you think and how you feel. So get a little bit obsessed with what you're actually, going to move, what the things are that are going to move the needle forwards for you. Not in a stressful way. You don't have to put too much pressure on yourself, but more in an empowering way and a proactive way. And protect your attention because your attention will direct your energy. Next slide, please, Em. So this is a big part of the level up. You don't need to win the whole year all in one go. You don't need to win the whole month or even the whole week. Just need to focus on winning the current day that you're in right now. One better meal, one walk, one workout, one better thought, one better choice instead of slipping into the old pattern. And that's really how we start to build momentum. It's just those small little daily wins that we compound over time. Next slide, please, Em. So the third lever is language. And we went over this a bit. This sort of ties into a lot of the stuff that we talked about last week. This is the words you say out loud and the words that you say inside your own head, because words do carry energy. If you keep saying, I'm exhausted, I'm hopeless, never stick to anything, I'm too old, or I can't do that, then you're pulling the lever in the wrong direction. And it's definitely, we're not saying to lie to yourself. We're not saying to pretend that everything's amazing when it's not. But there's definitely a huge difference between saying I can't and saying, all right, this is hard, but I can take one small step. One of those statements drains you. It doesn't empower you at all. And the other one builds you up and, it gives you hope, and a path forwards as well. Next slide, please, Em. This week, I'd like you to start, I guess, just catching your language. We're not trying to judge anything. We're just noticing. So when you hear yourself using words that take energy away, just pause and see if you can shift them. I've ruined the day can become something like, I can still make the next choice better. Or, maybe I'm not motivated. That could be turned into something like, oh, I don't need motivation. I just need to start small and build a little bit of momentum. Or I've gone too far. Could become something like, I'm just starting from where I'm at and I'm trying to improve. That's the mindset we really want to start to embrace. Honest, practical, but productive and solution focused. Next slide, please. So a bit of a quick check-in. Which levers do you feel take the most energy from you at the moment? So we want a little bit of interaction. So drop a 1 in the comments if it's body, 2 if it's focus, or 3 if it's language. No right or wrong answer. And this is just about really helping you build awareness in your own life and becoming more conscious of the things that affect our energy. Because once you can identify the energy givers and the energy takers in your own life, you can start to make better choices around them. And that's where change really starts. It's not by fixing everything all at once. It's by noticing, just one thing at a time and making small shifts positively that enhance your energy. So how do we go in the chat? Did you have a look, Em? Are you on mute? Let me just have a look. What do we have?
We've got focus. We've got Jane's focused on her feet, so her body, number 1. Focus. We've got focus. Oh, sorry, no, body. Language. Bit of a mixture all round.
Yeah, cool.
Let's also recognize that sometimes when this is more for people who have chronic pain, right? So let's focus, let's have a think about, sometimes we can get a bit overly focused on our body in a negative way. Jane, your comment made me think of this, and I just want to use my own personal experience. A few years ago, I was in a bit of a situation where I had a multitude of injuries, and I was in quite a chronic pain situation. And I was probably giving a little bit too much focus to that to the point where it was draining me. I had to get to the point, and this is not just like a minor injury, not just like something that went away in 2 months. It was ongoing issues that took me a year to 2 to work through. And what I did find is I was probably like towards the end of it, I was a little bit too hypersensitive and focused on the negative aspect of my pain. I had to kind of reshape my mindset around that and give a little bit more energy, not to just the actions I was taking, but to other things in my life as well that would bring me peace and bring me happiness, and not always be so focused on that negative thing. So I guess like that is a different situation where being focused on your body can sometimes, like, it can make things a little bit harder, like if you're focusing on that negativity. Because I remember I was in such a bad situation, I had to just kind of accept it and get to the point where I was like, okay, my body's in pain, it's there all the time, and what am I going to do about it? There's not much I can. Time's going to heal this, and I'm going to just focus on all the good things in my life in the day outside of that one thing. Do you know what I mean? So like it was just a period of time, and I had to learn that lesson not to focus on that negative thing so much. But yeah, it took some time, but definitely had to unfocus on that one thing and give my attention to all the other things in my life that were bringing me happiness. So I just focused on the kids. I focused on socializing. I focused on other things outside that I could control. Cool. Just a bit of a random experience there.
Yeah, cool.
Other than that, we've had people, yes, getting on top of your pain first. Yes. Nisha, yes. Sometimes you do need to get on top of that first.
Cool.
All right. Did you want me to take the next slide?
Next slide, please. Yeah. So challenge for the next 7 days. Ask yourself, which leaders need attention today? So is it your body, focus, language? And then just try and make one small shift that day, whether it's moving your body instead of staying stuck, starting your morning with wins and gratitudes instead of doom scrolling on your phone, changing I can't be bothered to something more like I'll just do 5 minutes. That's it. So just one lever, one better choice, one day at a time. And you'll be amazed, honestly, at little by little, those small little shifts start to add up to something big over time. Next slide, please. All right, so yeah, the win the day. So just want to say that everyone's been doing really well with this. And Em mentioned before, we simplified this. There used to be a few other parts to it. And I guess, when there's too much to it, we used to do it twice a day. Yeah, it was all these other parts. So I've found that simplifying it makes it a lot more doable. But we've really honed in on the most important parts of it, which is that gratitude. So the things that we appreciate that we've already got, and the wins. So really paying attention to those wins. And I'm really pleased at how well and consistent everyone's been with this. It's a really important tool that ties in with everything else that we're doing in the program. So yeah, good work, team, for being focused on that one. So Em, do you want to do the last few slides?
Yeah, I might focus on, I might go through next week now. So
yeah.
We've gone over the mindset topic for today. We've done a bit of a refresh on what we're focusing on this week. And now we're going to sort of have a little bit of a think about what's coming next week. So this is all about what's happening from Monday onwards. All right. So our week 2 actions, we're really focusing on building on what we're doing this week and just gaining momentum. So week 1, what we're currently in, is all about just go. Let's get started. Let's just launch in. Now, week 2 becomes a bit more about building on our learnings, building on what we're doing, getting better and refining. So we just want to build on that and keep moving forward. In terms of exercise, it doesn't change too much. walking targets increase just slightly every week. So we're moving next week to between 3.5 and 4.5 hours. So that's just an extra half an hour to what you'll do this week. Once again, we want to have a minimum 60 minutes of that walking time on a bush trail. That is a slight increase, and at least we want one longer walk, like 1 hour plus walk as well. Now that 1 hour plus walk can be your bush walk. Do you know what I mean? It can be the same thing. We just want to make sure across the week we've ticked off at least one longer walk and we've found that bush trail. And we're working on that. Strength sessions and mobility are the same, just 2 a week of both of those things. And you guys are doing a good job. Just a little reminder that if you jumped in for yoga, that counts as mobility. And we're counting Pilates as strength more so. So when you're filling in your Sunday surveys, make sure you're ticking the right boxes for those two. Once again, we want to avoid injuries by not going overboard. Tony, I will answer that question. Yoga, Pilates is Friday mornings, 8 a.m. every week. And Rob, yoga is, when's yoga?
Yoga's 8 a.m. Wednesday mornings.
8 a.m. Okay, so
I did
jump
post it
in.
this morning in the group.
So jump in, just log into this just log into this room, and that's where it's hosted. Continue to do your mobility so that you don't get injured. That's really important. And Jane had a good suggestion. She's focusing her mobility on her trouble areas. And I know Karen's doing the same thing as well. So if you've got something in your body that's causing you aches and pains, focus your mobility around that specific area. And there's lots of different mobility workouts that target different areas of the body inside the Resource Hub. Now, has everybody found the mobility workouts in the Resource Hub? Nobody's unsure on where to find them? Good. Okay, awesome.
They're all in everyone's Trainerize account as well.
And they're in the Trainerize too, yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of food, absolutely nothing changes. So good news is what you're doing this week, you will also do next week. So no need to go over that in great detail. However, I will mention that if you haven't dipped into all 3 of the different zones, if you've stuck to the one zone every day, perhaps think about mixing it up and getting a feel for what the different zones feel like, just in getting prepared for things that come later in the program. So if you've only done 100-gram zones, just try 150-gram zone day just to see what it feels like. You know, we encourage a bit of flexibility there. So you do what works well for you.
And I'll just jump in on that. You might, like, the zones are under 100 or 150, but feel free to, you might play around 70. Like that might be a sweet spot for you. You might sort of find that 50 is too low, but 100 is too high. And there's somewhere within that range that really works well for you. So don't be afraid to, it doesn't have to be exactly right up to 100 or right up to 50. It can be anywhere in between.
Yeah. And also take note of how your energy feels on those days. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be a good guide for you for when we finish the program and you want to go into sort of a more maintenance period. Just think about it in terms of where you felt the best in terms of those zones. Keep hydrating. We've talked about that. We also have a new video that will drop tonight, a new education module. So next week's education module is on intermittent fasting. So Rob's put together a great video on that. I encourage you all to really watch that video. For those of you, if you intend to fast on this program, or if you have even already fasted in the past and want to do it again, but just didn't really know how to go about it correctly, it goes through strategies to keep you safe, strategies to give you most success in that. It gives you reasons behind why you might like to fast. It talks about caution, like why you wouldn't fast, or some what's it called, like things that would stop you.
Contraindications.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for, when you wouldn't. So even if you've done fasting before, I still encourage you to watch that video. And back to the hydration. A lot of you are already onto this. Load your mornings with water. It definitely helps you hit water targets. Jane has just mentioned, if anyone wants some extra reading on intermittent fasting, the book Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Peltz, she's put that in the chat, is a great read. I know, Rob, you're a big fan of that book as well.
Yeah, it's good.
I haven't quite finished that one. I had to return it to the library before I finished it, but I fully intend to go back to that one. It goes into a lot of the science and really talks about fasting from a female perspective, because it can be a little bit different from a male perspective. So that's a good one. Other than that, weigh in. Good job, everyone. Everyone did their weigh in on Sunday and recorded their result inside the Sunday survey. So thank you for that. We do ask for you to put that weigh-in result in the Sunday survey, because there is a tiny bit of a time lag on the weigh-in results inside Trainer Eyes. It just helps me understand the results quicker. So thanks for that, guys. Sunday survey, you know what that's all about now. You've done one. I'm sure you understand the purpose of it all. It does give us really valuable feedback. So make sure you get that done Sunday night, because I schedule a few hours on, I'm sure Rob does too, on Monday to go through all the surveys and give you feedback on how you're going. So try not to miss that deadline of Sunday night, so you can get your prompt feedback on that. I hope you've all found where to access those messages, and you've all accessed the private chats now between yourselves and us. If you haven't accessed that private chat and got your private message from me and Rob at this point, make sure you're accessing that chat. Because I know some people go halfway through the program and then they find it and they're like, oh, there's all these messages here. So make sure you found that and had your feedback from your Sunday survey. Recap week 2 requirements. We've just gone through all this. It's exactly what it's just a snapshot. If you need a quick reminder, I won't read it out again. Homework tasks. So check out the resource hub. This is now blacked out for you to access. You can now see week 2's resources, and after this meeting, we will link up the meeting recording for those people who didn't catch it, or if anyone needs to go and catch the second half or the first half again. I'll load the slides up as well and link that up. Other than that, we've already talked about the homework, watching intermittent fasting video, weigh in at Sunday survey. And don't forget to click that week 2 focus sheet. That week 2 focus sheet gives a reminder of the walking targets and exercise targets for the week. Yeah. And win the day, of course. Questions. We had some questions coming from this week's Sunday survey. Rob, do you want me to pass you back so you can tackle these?
Yeah, so
I have some input on habits when you get to that one, though. So
okay.
On the third point.
Did Jubilee end up jumping on? I don't think she did.
I don't think she did, but she
anyway,
will definitely
You'll
listen
watch
to
the
this.
recording, yeah. So
I'll
just answer the question as if she was here. So one of the questions was just about water retention, feeling a bit bloated, masking weigh-in and measurements and things like that, and and some strategies to overcome that. So whether this reflects to anyone else, but just a few things that can affect that. Obviously, hormonal cycles, which I'm sure everyone is well aware of, can affect water retention within the body. So that can certainly be a factor at certain times throughout the month. Salt intake can influence that. Even things like poor sleep, stress hormones can can affect that. So just being aware of those things, even like some of the feedback that we get from some people, not everyone, some people notice a difference in their bowel movements when they go to more of a lower carb type approach, that they're not having bowel movements as frequently and, having a little bit more, difficulty going. So, generally it's from fiber. Like if you're eating a lot of grains and things like that, they'll tend to have more fiber. So just being aware that if you are not going regularly, then that could potentially contribute. And we definitely want to be having, regular bowel movements. Like you should be at least having one bowel movement a day. If not, it's not a good thing because things can start to, I always like think of it like, a stream of fresh running water, on a mountain, it's nice and clean water. Whereas if you have like a little pond, it starts to build, scum and moss and, different stuff in it. So it's similar to your gut. Like the food needs to pass through. It's not good for it to stagnate and just sit there because it can feed unfriendly bacteria and affect your gut health and things like that. So if you are noticing that that's an issue for you, then having a few strategies is that make sure that you're prioritizing having lots of non-starchy, fibrous vegetables. So generally the ones on the list, things like, I guess, celery, things that are quite, got a bit of fiber. When you chew them and eat them, you'll be able to notice the difference. Another thing that you can do is chia seeds. You can soak chia seeds in water. This is a common thing that a lot of people in the keto world and low carb world do. So they'll like have, a few tablespoons of chia seeds, soak them overnight, and then they go like jelly. So it's sort of like a chia pudding if you've ever seen one of those. That can help just to give yourself a little, because chia is actually really high in fiber. It can help give your bulk a little bit more weight and it helps to pass things through. Being well hydrated is another one as well. So that can potentially, affect water retention and bloating. Looking for trends can be really important. So if sometimes there can be certain foods, maybe you have a little bit of an intolerance, maybe there's things that just don't agree with your body. That can be a good process of, if you keep a little bit of a journal and pay attention to, is there a pattern? Is there something that I'm eating? Is there a pattern to maybe stress levels or sleep patterns? Is that tying in when I'm getting bloated and feeling, more water retention? The other thing is how you eat. So it's not only what you eat, but it's the state that you're in when you're eating. Chewing your food enough. Like when you're distracted when you're eating, you tend to chew a lot less. And most of the digestion, I learned this a few years ago, that majority of the digestion is the mechanical process of your teeth breaking up the food into smaller particles. Like when it goes through your digestive system, you've got all the enzymes and everything breaking everything down into smaller bits, but it's really difficult to do that if you haven't started the process effectively with that mechanical process of chewing the food into smaller parts. So I think what's the old Chinese, like in Chinese medicine, they have like drink your food and eat your water or something. Anyway, there's something like that. But anyway, the point of it is that you're chewing for long enough to really make it like a soup sort of mixture in your mouth before you swallow it. And digestion will be much, much easier for your body. So eating in a relaxed state, not being in a high stress situation. If you have been stressed and you're busy and then you got time to eat, take a few breaths, slow down, relax before you eat, rather than just shovel it down. All of those things, they can have a big impact on your digestion, and hence if you're not breaking the food down, you've got large food particles, moving through, they're not going to absorb properly, and they could potentially cause bloating and just digestive upset. So that's another thing that I would really pay attention to. And the stress, we do have a full unit on stress, one of the educations, and it's a really important one. It's quite an impactful one, so that will make a little bit more sense and tie in when you go through that one. So the next one we had was recipe and snacks. So I think, Tony, if you want to unmute, because we had like a section, is there anything that you'd like us to discuss in the weekly meeting? You had down recipes and snacks, but I just wanted to know a little bit more context maybe of what you wanted us to talk about.
I guess I haven't actually dipped into the recipes yet, so that was more of a thing that I want to do. I know that there's a lot of resources there, but in terms of snacks, like I'm trying to be as prepared as I can and take healthy food to work and stuff. But if you do get caught out and you're just on your way out, I used to just grab a banana, grab an apple, grab a muesli bar. And I can't do those anymore. And I was just wondering, is there something else? And then the other thing is I'm going to I go to functions or people's houses, and what can I take as snacky foods that's going to be healthier?
Yeah, cool. So you might have missed it, but last week, I think it was on Friday, because the question came up a few times. So I actually
I can't keep track of all the messages.
That's all right. I created a new recipe book in the Resource Hub, which is what was it called? Snack Recipe ebook. So in the Snack Recipe ebook, if you've had a look at the recipe books, if you haven't checked it since last Friday, I added a new one. So it's got some like snacks that you can, like ones that you can, just do in the moment, like just quick make and eat snacks. And then also some batch prepared snacks. So things like, making some keto multi-seed crackers, you make a batch of them, but then you've got them for, the next week or next few days or something like that. So yeah, have a look through that one. That's a few.
Okay. Yeah, no, thanks.
Ones.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I really
had some positive feedback on your crackers, Rob. Jubilee said they're amazing. She said she's never going to buy crackers again.
That's a big call.
No, they are good. They're really good. They're really good. We it's funny because we used to make them years ago, like religiously every week, and then I don't know, we just sort of you go on to different trends, and we didn't do it, and we only started making them a couple months ago again, and they're just so handy. Like just having them in the cupboard, you can put a slice of avocado, tomato, whatever, some tuna, there's even some topping. I'm a visual person, so I'll show you that. I've got the recipe book on my screen. So this is the recipe book. But you can see I put at the end it's a bit slow to load. These are the crackers that we're talking about, by the way, if anyone's interested.
Oh, right.
And yeah, these are just some different topping ideas that you can put on them, like a caprese sort of salad, some tomato, bit of cheese, a bit of basil,
nice.
a little bit of an Asian style with, some mashed tuna and, black sesame seeds. And, so anyway, there's just a little bit of inspiration, a few different options that you can put on top of them as well, just to sort of get the, get the mind thinking about a few different ways that you could potentially do it that look appetizing for you.
Yeah, because instead of taking like lots of cheese and dips and stuff.
There's even some homemade dips. So I think there's one homemade dip in here as well, creamy avo dip, which is a pretty easy dip, just made out of avocado, I think, and Greek yogurt, a little bit of lemon or lime juice, salt and pepper. That's it. So yeah, there's dips aren't bad, but it's just that most of the ones you buy at the shop aren't great. So yeah, if you put the right things in, then it's all good.
And the reason why most of them in the shops aren't great is because most of them have lots of seed oils in them. So it's really hard to find store-bought dips that don't have seed oils.
You got to go to a health food shop, to really find a quality one.
So, Rob, I've got a question about the crackers because I tried to make them during the week. I think
Yeah.
they're too. I think mine are too thick. I was
Yeah.
worried they're going to be too thick. So, is that they've got to be quite thin?
Make them thin, yeah.
Right. Okay, that's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
They taste great. They're just a bit thicker than I thought they should be.
Yeah. Make them thin. They're much better when you try and make them as thin as you can.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
as thin as you can. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Samantha, how long did it take you to make them?
It's like an hour and a half. Well, not very long to put the mixture together, but it's like an hour and a half or something in the oven. So, but it was really simple, so simple, and they taste great. I just don't have that crispy when you bite into them. They're a bit softer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might
make
just
sure
need
you
to
spread
cook,
it out.
Yeah, you might need to cook them a little bit long. If they're thicker, you'll need to cook longer.
I did try that. They're still too thick.
Yeah. You might have done
no
a
worries. No,
bit
I'll have another go at it.
While I just think of it, this Friday night, we've got our cook-up. So we've got 4 dates. You might have seen them in the hub. We mentioned them briefly a few weeks ago. So Haley, my wife, runs them. I'll sort of duck in and out. And we're going to, what is it? It's Meetsa this week. So it's 6 o'clock to 7:30. So you can either just log in and it's a little bit more of a casual session. We're sort of cooking, talking through stuff, a bit of chit chat, make like a little mocktail and stuff like that. So it's a bit of fun. If you want to cook along, most people that do it come and cook along. Some people just stop in for a little bit of a social. So everyone's welcome. Encourage everyone to come if you can, and everyone loves the food. They really enjoy the recipes, and these are like some of the staples that we use in my house. Like just food swaps of common things that are really instead of a pizza, we're using an actual meat base to make the pizza. So might be a few interesting new ones that you might not have thought about before. So last one was habits. So I think that was you, Tony, as well. Did you have something specific about habits you were wanting to?
Oh yeah. I just noticed on the meal plan that it's got a H1, H2. I don't really know what to put in there.
Just if you're working on some habit, like for some people, the habit of drinking enough water is something they might want to track every day. You can either do it on Trainerize or you can just write it down on that piece of paper if you're already tracking. It's sort of optional.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to use the habits there if you don't want to. It's more just if there's something you need to tick off. Like I know some people have to tick off 2 liters of water per day just to remember to do it. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I was putting the water up higher and that's a much better place.
Or even just like if you're somebody that wants to do stretching every morning because that makes your body feel amazing and you've got a stretch routine, you might want to track it as a habit. Whether it's online in Trainerize, if you want any habits put into Trainerize, Rob can do that quite easily. So if you're someone that likes to online track and do it all in Trainerize, we can make that happen for you too. It's just a little optional thing to use on that meal planner. And it will be different for different people. So just, depending on what you need to focus on. You might need to tick off that you've completed the win the day. Like having it down as a daily tracker might be useful to you to remember to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because you're looking at that meal planner every day anyway. Yeah. It's just a bit of just one extra feature of it.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thanks. That makes sense.
And if anyone's looking, I hate to give you more homework, but on habits, my ultimate favorite book in terms of health and wellness is a book on habits. It's called Atomic Habits and it's by James Clear. It's one of the world's best sellers in the health and fitness space. So don't just take my word for it. It's a very popular book. If you're interested, it's very readable as well, similar to The Dose Effect in that it's an easy read. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. You can get through it quite quickly. To be honest, you could probably read those 2 books much quicker than you could listen to them on audio books. They're not hard. but yeah, that's just up there for anyone who feels like they need a bit more work on that specific thing. We do cover a little bit on habits and habit stacking and things like that in one of the education videos. I believe it's one of the last ones we're going to cover on troubleshooting and overcoming roadblocks. So, but if you're looking for some more information on habits in the meantime, definitely tackle Atomic Habits. It's a great book.
Cool. Just one last one. It's not on the list here, but I saw in the comments Samantha mentioned about Mother's Day this
Oh,
Sunday.
yes, it's on my list.
Being a challenge and any hints. So as I think Tony mentioned before, it's my birthday today. So my daughter, she's made me a cake, right, for my birthday, but it's all low carb. It's got in fact, I haven't looked at it properly because I wasn't allowed to look, but I know that she knows our style of eating. So she looked it up on, just ChatGPT, low carb version, blah, blah, blah. It's got like raspberries and stuff like that. So anyway, my point is that it's Mother's Day. It's your day. So tell them what you want. You be in the driver's seat. They're meant to make it a nice day for you. So,
we're going to a pub, so
okay.
That's a bit that I guess at home would be fine, but yeah, pub was
The
maybe
lunch
Mont
or
Carlin's. Yeah, lunch.
lunch, yeah. So yeah, maybe just have some, protein steaks, something like that. Just don't have, just tell them no chips. Maybe sometimes you can just ask them for some steamed veggies with it. Just you have to, just be selective, and it's always better. Like my rule is, you don't want to. If you don't ask for no chips, they'll generally just put them on there, and then they'll be staring at you in the face the whole time. So for most people, they're pretty tempting. So it's hard to sort of look at them for that long. So it's better to ask, what does this come with exactly? Does it come with any sauces? Does it come with chips? Does it come with what? And then just ask them, can I have a salad instead of that without dressing, or can I have some steamed veggies, or just some choices like that. Yeah, just steer it in the direction that's going to work for you.
Yep, great. Thank you.
And always get your sauces and dressings put on the side. If you only want a little bit, or do you know what I mean? Always get them put on the side.
Yeah.
Or none at all.
Yeah, that's really handy.
The beauty of getting a steak with the sauce on the side is you always get a better cut of steak as well. They'll give you a nice, good looking one. That's not, yeah. The other one was, if you're out for breakfast on Mother's Day, an egg breakfast with no toast is very easy to do. Get an extra side, like some extra spinach or some extra tomato or something on the side to take its place. Do you know what I mean? Some mushrooms or something that's low carb.
Yep. And there was a quick question about, is the cooking demo recorded? Yes, it is. So we'll post the recording so you can watch it later as well. All right, I think that's a wrap. We're about 15 minutes over, so not too bad, considering what we used to do. So we'll leave it at that, guys. Everyone's doing really well. Keep the momentum up, and look forward to reading your Sunday surveys to see how everyone's week went, and seeing you next Wednesday, same time.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.